don't focus on the fundraising per se. Build your model, whatever the liquidity you have it. Build up to some scale, then look for the funding. That is the best way to go for. Otherwise, you will not get the right kind of investors.
Welcome to the Blue Circle. It's such a big privilege and pleasure to connect with everyone and our distinguished keynote speaker, who is handpicked because of the think input and the rich experience he brings in. Thank you also to our distinguished audience for joining us, most of whom are CEOs, CXOs, and senior leaders. Many of them are our members and are repeat visitors to our webinars. This is very encouraging and motivates us to provide even high levels of dialogue through the online mode as well. For those of you who are new with us today, Blue Circle is the world's first sector-specific networking app for industry professionals that's built in India. We currently focus on 20 sector communities such as e-mobility, energy, tech, startups, and many more. We also present socioeconomic insights which ultimately determine the evolving complexion of the market. Along with our weekly webinar series and our digital publication, you will be happy to know that we have recently launched the first version of the Blue Circle app for industry professionals, somewhat like the sector-specific LinkedIn, a space to have meaningful conversations, connect with over 15,000 plus like-minded leaders from India and across the globe, house high-quality curated content, and access business opportunities across such sectors. Now, without further ado, I'm pleased to introduce today's keynote speaker and Blue Circle member, Mr. Yash Arora, Managing Partner, NeXmile Professionals. Yash Arora is presently Managing Partner in NeXmile Professionals. He's a seasoned finance professional with 28 years of experience across diversified sectors such as manufacturing, investment banking, infrastructure, and oil and gas. He's a chartered accountant, CPA Australia, IIM Calcutta alumni, and a qualified valuer from ICAI. Yash is having expertise in all gamut of finance, such as corporate financing, accounting, working capital management, and treasury operations, M&A, investor relationships, you name it, he's all there. He successfully managed M&As and strategic transactions for significant transformation and value creation. And for today's topic, Mr. Arora will be discussing a very pertinent subject, which is startups, the challenges, and possible solutions. Now I request Mr. Arora to please begin the session. Thank you.
Thanks, Gautam. Thank you for the nice words. Thank you. Thanks to everyone for taking out their time to listen to my thoughts. Today, we are going to discuss about startups, what are the key challenges and the possible solutions there too. I think the key issues that most of the startups they have faced is the software aspect of the business, how to package themselves, how to derive their passion, what the key aspect of the business they need to take care of it. Second is the funding or the liquidity issues that they are facing. The third is the taxation issues. Today, we are covering software aspect of the business. In the next session, sometime maybe after a few weeks, we are going to cover on the funding, liquidity, and the taxation issues in the next session. Startups is an opportunity to convert their dreams into reality. Basically, it's a platform, and there's a lot of support. There's a lot of ecosystem which got developed now. Today, there are about 70,000 recognized startups in India who have challenged themselves to change the rules of the game. And they're all pursuing their passion, striving for growth with a lot of dedication and hard work. And startups, not only they have prospered themselves, they have pulled down many established businesses because of the advent of technology and others. And they was at the same time, they have given solutions to many problems that the people at large they were facing or the industry was facing. You take it, fintech is one example, the many others. And large corporates are today joining hands with many startups. So startups There are many successful stories, but still there are many challenges which are there. Despite so much dedication and attention, still 90% of the startups fail and run out of the businesses. Why so? Have you ever thought, why does it happen? The key reason for this, I'm listing out a few factors. Fear of embracing failure. Because of the fear of embracing failure, maybe launching a new product, launching a new service, or getting into the new markets or exports, we are not taking any action. Why so? Fear develops uncertainty, and uncertainties delays the decision making. And as a result, we look for various alternatives. Or in the process, we are taking the decisions very late, or there are no decisions at times. It is said a wrong decision can always be cured, but no decisions never recovers and kill the business. That is very, very important. So for what I mean to here say is the decision making is very, very important. Then thereafter the action thereon. Further, if the decision making is based on facts rather than on the gut feel, actions will be faster because they will be with a lot of clarity of thoughts. So therefore, it is important that we embrace the failure and move forward rather than waiting for the best. As I mentioned, rather than waiting for the best, we always look for the perfection. I always say procrastination is also another name to perfection. Many of the startups, they have put their energy and resources on perfectionism, especially during the initial stage. They should have a large office, they should have a very good infrastructures. They want to give a showcase, they want to set an example. That is the way it happens. We believe in too much perfection. As a result, we lose the early mover advantage. It is said the ideas are worthless unless we act on them. Success of any business depends upon implementation. Take action and keep on improving upon implementation. And this is a continuous process. Rather than getting into the perfection, take action whatever we can take and keep on improving it and leading to perfection. For example, Facebook started by Harvard students. We all know they were not having any business plan, but they kept on implementing. They were addressing the concerns based on their feedbacks and their own ideas. They kept on improving the platform. To where they are, we all know. Similarly for the Google also. Google was not the first search engine, but they kept on improving algorithm. As a result, where they stand today. Just doing it keep us ahead. That's very, very important. The idea is keep on moving. Don't look for perfection. Baby steps takes us to the high levels. Another challenge, that is the cause or purpose remains undefined. Many of the entrepreneurs, the startups, they know why they have set up, but they're not able to define it well or communicate well either to employees or the public at large or the prospective customers. That's another reason why the startups are failing. And at times they're taking action. They no clarity on the long-term vision. How each and every baby step events that should be aligned to the long-term vision. I think the long-term vision should be clearly defined with the mission statement, with the mission and the action plan, what it is required. And how you package it also that makes a huge difference. Steve Jobs always maintained in Apple products clarity of why. why this product is, what is this going to solve. Then is the discipline of how and consistency of what. Most of the time when we package it, even the startup or their products, we start with what. For example, Creative, they were the inventor of the iPod, and Apple did not introduce this product for the 22 months. In terms of the technology, in terms of the product specifications, Creative in Singapore, they were the best. But still, they were not able to sell much because when they advertised their product, they said 5G MP3 player, which means this is the product. This is what? This is the product. Whereas Apple launched the same product. They advertised it 100 songs in your pocket. So as a result, it was clicking everyone. Why I need this? Because I need to listen to the songs. I have the thousands songs in my pocket all the times. So that is the difference. How your packaging is very, very critical for the success of any startups. And secondly, be in the area of niche area of specialization. Say somebody says, I'm expert in helping others to reduce weight. That is one. Then there will be many guys who are working on reducing the weight. There's a lot of competition. In case the person has given the expertise, say, lose weight after thyroid, loss of weight after pregnancy. In case that kind of a niche area of specialization is built, then your competition is far, far lesser, and you're able to command a premium on your products or the services rather than be in the general segment. So therefore, define it very, very clearly. When we look at it, the startups, the key challenges, if we look, faced by the startups is human, liquidity, and infrastructure. There are too many alternatives to liquidity and infrastructure, but there is no alternative to availability of right team. Right team here means to hire people who believe what we believe. They are involved equally in our passion. That is called the right team. We normally look at it, the team which is more in the skill sets, but as far as the passion driving is concerned, that is hardly looked at. So therefore, that's very, very important. Maybe right team, maybe a mentor who is keep on guiding us how to move forward. Wherever we stuck, we're taking the guidance rather than taking our own decisions because we may be lacking experience, and taking the help from the experts is also a part of the right team. At the time of equity raising, when we go for the fundraising, investors give a lot of importance to the right team, 50 to 70%. Many of the guys who comes to us, they say, we have the right product, we have packaged it well, but we are not able to attract the investors. Why so? If the business is done one-man show or a few members team show, you will not attract the investors, or you may not get the right kind of a premium in case there's no right team. It is a super, super critical for any success of startup. It is said employees come first. If employees are treated well, then they take care of the business very well. And on the infrastructure, keep on the initial cost low on infrastructure and build the right team. Maybe infrastructures, maybe somebody starting new office services, rather than opening the new office, building up the cost, have the meetings outside, maybe in the business centers, maybe in the restaurant or with others, visiting the client's offices, rather than building up a cost. Therefore, in case the initial costs are low, funding requirements are low. So therefore, what is required? Keep the funding requirements low, build the right team, keep on taking action. That is what will drive to the new heights. And another challenge which is faced by startups is the lack of human touch for the personal brand. Many of the digital platforms are there, but there is hardly any human touch. In case we are selling our product today, digital product today, what the problems the customer is facing after the product is bought, I think we lack the attention thereon. We need to address those. I think those are very, very critical. In touch means higher trust factors. Then they are loyal customers. As the Apple has built, it's a loyal customers army. So therefore, for the success of any business startup, building up the customer base who are blindly trusting you after some time is very, very critical, which in turn builds up the personal brand. That is very successful, very, very critical for the success of a digital platform. And another factor for the success of the business activities is the timing. If the timing is perfect, it goes through very well. Are we addressing the problems of the community at large or providing any solutions to that? It will immediately click. Facebook, Google. Another example, Airbnb. When the Airbnb concept was sold initially, there were hardly any takers. After some time, when there was a lot of demand for it, this reason Airbnb was launched during the recession period after the Lehman crisis. As a result, people were looking for additional money and they started out renting out their house. Because initially it was believed nobody is going to rent it out its own premises, own house to a stranger, but it worked. Similarly, Uber worked because the drivers were looking for the additional money, what they were earning. It worked. Jetcom and the YouTube. The Jetcom, the same product, what it was YouTube, it was launched way back in 1998, but it was not successful because there was no bandwidth commensurating that what was required. YouTube succeed because it was launched at the time when there was a good bandwidth. And even YouTube was not having any detailed business plan. They kept on working. That is what it drive them to the success. A survey was conducted to analyze the 5 success factors across 200 companies, and the findings are timing wise, 21%. 21% there were the failures were there because the timing was not perfect out of the 200 companies. Team execution, 16%, which means the 32 companies failed because of they did not build up the right team. Idea truth outlier, which means they built up the business, but they were not having a great idea about it. And another is the business model. And the least factor is the funding. Because of the funding, there are only 7% of the startups which failed. But majority of the businesses fail because of other factors. Because of the other factors were not addressed, as a result, there was no funding availability. There's a lot of funding in the market. People are looking for the right opportunity, and the pool of the investors, angel investor, has gone many folds today. Maybe 2 years back, and today maybe 30, 40 times. That's the base of the angel investor today. And each one is looking for the possibilities. Funding is no longer an issue. But are we packaging the startups or our products in the right perspective? That is very critical to success of the business. Michael Jordan said, I have missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games and 26 times. I have been trusted to take the game's winning shots and missed. I have failed over and over again in my life. That is why I succeed. Failure within failure, it doesn't make a difference. We are not losing unless we give up. So that's very, very critical mantra to be remembered to be. And the key takeaway is, if we really look at it, that's my own finding. The persons who are passionate about their ideas, they lack way of organizing themselves or packaging themselves to sell their ideas to investors and the customers. I know a guy who is very hands-on, having great ideas. He himself is running for the funding. He didn't build a team. As a result, he could not attract the right kind of investors. The money he was looking at it. I think the entrepreneurs, they should be investing their time on the business itself rather than running the peripheral activities. For the other activities, have a right time, right team, right consultants, and have the mentors who can guide you at every path. Then there are another persons who are able to package their products very well, but they lack high degree of dedication. For them, I would say join hands with people who are passionate and have ability to drive through. That's all the presentation from my side today on the software aspect, why the startups fail and the solutions I've given, whatever to best of our knowledge. And in the next session, we will be covering up on the challenges on the fundraising and the taxation. Thank you very much. In case you have any questions, we are happy to address those.
Thank you, Mr. Arora. Beautiful presentation, well structured, I must say. I'll quickly move on to the Q&A section so that we don't waste time, because I understand you have a flight to catch. So the first question from Rahul is, what are the steps a founder should follow to raise early stage funds?
See, I will say, don't focus on the fundraising per se. Build your model, whatever the liquidity you have it. Build up to some scale, then look for the funding. That is the best way to go for. Otherwise, you will not get the right kind of investors.
Understood. Thank you. Radhika is asking, hiring the right talent is quite the issue because they typically drift towards top tier companies. How should one deal with such a challenge?
See, one way is to look at the employees. One way is to look at the teams. The other way is to look at the consultants. It's not necessary who are in part of your team. Build a team. In case you build a team through our consultants, through mentors, right? They will stay for long with you. As far as the employees are concerned, maybe you have a pool of the consultants who are advising you and the lower level guys to start with. That's the reason I've also started my startup. This is the way I'm going ahead. This is a suggestion for you also.
Thank you. Surely consider this. Moving on to the next question by Rishabh. Tech startups rely initially a lot on outsourcing their technology, which makes it difficult to control the outcome. What can be done to overcome this issue?
See, technology, unless you're hands-on the technology, right? I think you need to be master in the areas which, in case you have a technology platform and you yourself is not master, I think you need to think through, is it the right startup for you? Because that is very, very critical for you. You look out for some activities where you have your own expertise and you're driving it.
Understood. I'll move on to the last question. If we don't have any other one, the question is, how can startups acquire users at scale on a frugal budget?
I think everybody is having that kind of a budget, right? It's not every startup. And the persons who are passionate, the persons who are a lot of ideas, they want to take their dreams into reality, they are not having the funding. They have the ideas and they need to package it well, then that can drive it through. Keep the cost low, do the things more and more of your own, take help from the family. That is the way to go forward, rather than maybe from friends, family, others, whosoever is willing to help you out. Maybe even that time the strangers also are helping. It's not necessary that we need to have employees, we need to have we need to spend the money to get the right kind of support. Not necessary. We can still go ahead and move on. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Arora. Yeah, I guess we're done with the questions, but thank you very much, and such an insightful and engaging session, and a privilege to hear you. And also thank you to the leaders in the audience for joining us and for staying till the end.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.